Well, hello everybody. Welcome to P.B.M. Money. First up, State Farm. We're going to call this one State Farm Sucks. Now you might be asking yourself, why would I do these kind of things on a money show? Well, because spending money is about getting value. If you're not getting good customer service, you're getting a terrible value. So, and these stories, by the way, are all true, 100% true. Nothing made up, no exaggerations, no nothing. That's why they're here. So, State Farm. So, about 5 years ago, a little over 5 years ago, I was rear-ended by a drunk driver who had passed out at the wheel. And he was driving one of those big trucks, you know, it's got the big bars on front, brand new. Had to be a $60,000 truck. And the kid was only like 21, 22 maybe. He fell asleep at the wheel. The cop estimated that he was doing 70 miles an hour when he hit me. I was standing still and I was driving a little compact sports car. It was 3:30 in the morning. I was on my paper route, by the way. I had just pulled out and I saw him way down the road at the stoplight and the light was red. I didn't think anything about it. So I put it into reverse, backed right out, and as I looked in my rearview mirror to hit drive, there was nothing I could do. He was on me that fast. He totaled my car, needless to say. I walked away from it surprisingly. I still don't know how I did. But I walked away from it. I had to go to the hospital because of my back, but I walked away. I wanted to get pictures of my car and go through it because my phone was in there somewhere. So after I got out of the hospital, I went to go get my car. State Farm had moved it. Not only did they moved it into their compound and out of the city. It was in another county. And due to be demolished within a week. I never got an opportunity to go through it. I never got an opportunity to take pictures. Nothing. And that happened the same day. When they wanted me to go to the hospital, they wanted me to lay down. I couldn't lay down. My back hurt that much. When I was in the hospital, they had to take my coat off. Couldn't get my coat off because I was screaming in so much pain. I finally told them, I said, this time we're going to get this coat off, and I don't care how much I yell and scream, you get this coat off of me. They did. So I get out, I'm upset about my wreck, I'm upset about my car, and I start getting phone calls from adjusters at State Farm. Oh, I forgot to mention, the driver that hit me was very well off. His family was, he lived with his family. As if you didn't know that by the vehicle he was driving. And they also had State Farm as their insurance company. Keep that in mind as I tell this story. So anyway, I get 3 different phone calls from adjusters. The first one starts grilling me like an attorney. Well, how fast were you going? Well, when did you turn out? When did you see him? How did you... And it's about the 3rd or 4th question in, I said, wait just a minute, what does this have to do with anything? Oh, we're just trying to get the story. And I thought, and I told her, I said, let me tell you what I hear. I hear State Farm circling the wagons around that other guy and you trying to get me to commit to something so that if we ever end up going to court, you can poke holes in my story because my memory isn't good 5 years later. I'm not playing that game. And I hung up. Then I called an attorney. I told them the story. They took the case. And I told her at the time, said, I am not doing this for money. I don't care about the money. I said, I'm concerned that they're going to try to screw me to save the other guy's account. And by that I mean not paying my medical bills because I don't have medical insurance. So if they squelch on paying my bills, I'm in deep trouble. So they understood and they took the case. Now, I talked to my attorney on one day. I went back the next week and she sat down and she says, I've never seen anything like this. I said, what are you talking about? She said, I've been doing this for a long time. She said, and the way I was treated when I mentioned your name was unbelievable. Doors started closing, people started hanging up. I said, see, I told you something was going on. She couldn't believe it. She thought I was exaggerating. State Farm absolutely circled the wagons around that guy and protected him. Oh, wait till I hear you how it was adjudicated. So anyway, at that point, or some point in the very near future, they started negotiating, the two attorneys. We started at $100,000. They started at $5,000. We dropped to 90. They went to 6,000. We dropped to 80. They stayed at 6,000. We dropped to 75. We never heard another word from them. They were done. I don't know the legalese about it, but that sounds like they were not negotiating in good faith. Now, it sat like that for 4.5 years. And this is standard operating procedure for State Farm. How do I know that? Because I have a friend who is a pastor. He was in a car or a motorcycle accident, and it took them 5 years to pay. And then when they did pay, they gave him a fraction of what he should have gotten. Remember that, 5 years. My boss was in a car wreck, State Farm. They made her wait 5 years. And then when they wrote her a check, they screwed her on the amount she should have gotten. My wreck took 5 years. And here's how that happened. My attorney left the firm, so I got another attorney in the firm. And I talked to him. And so he's going through the file with me on the phone. He says, "Oh, hey, I know this attorney that works, that's working here. Let me make a phone call and I'll get back to you." And he called me back that day and said they've raised their offer to $60,000. I think we should take it. I did. My share was not $60,000, by the way. But now let me tell you why, other than what I've already told you, why State Farm sucks. First off, they make everybody wait 5 years. That means that all the claim money that they pay every year, they've had that money for 5 years making interest, paying for real estate. Just the 3 people that I told you about, if they just took that money and invested it for 5 years, they could pay off an office building somewhere. Think about that. Then refinance the office building, take the money, pay us off with no interest, by the way. And now they've got an income generating building. They got us off on minuscule amount of money. It's not right. The car that they totaled was paid off, and it was a gift for my son. They hauled that thing up before I had a chance to take a picture. Before I had a chance to get my brand new, it was a brand new phone, by the way. They just hauled it off. Now I had to, and I make less than 15 bucks an hour, by the way. And I had to figure this out. How am I going to pay for a vehicle? I can't hardly pay for time to change my mind, much less a car. But I figured it out. I bought a car. Well, I leased it because it was cheaper for 3 years, thinking it would be done and I could, go buy a car. It wasn't. So now I had to buy the car, still making the same amount of money, and State Farm still holding my money. They left me hanging in the wind for 5 years trying to figure out how to make a payment on this car that I can't afford. But they didn't care. As long as they get their money invested for 5 years off of everybody that files a claim, they're fine. They don't give a crap about you. They do not care. Or as Herman Cain used to say, they does not care. I loved Herman Cain, by the way. So anyway, they left me hanging for 5 years trying to figure out how to make this payment. I was unable to make any progress for 5 years. And then when they do pay, they pay off in pauper's dimes. It's unbelievable how little amount of money they got off with on everyone that I know. And yet people are taking it. I should have got the clue because they used to, State Farm 20 years ago or 30 years ago, used to sponsor a Pro-Am ladies golf tournament. It was a big draw, made lots of money. And the ladies on the tour said they wanted more money, and State Farm said, no, we'll just shut down. And they did. They shut down the whole thing. Hurt the city, hurt the golf course, hurt the revenue, hurt the tax base, hurt everybody in that small town. They didn't care. It was all about money for them. Whatever happened to customer service? Whatever happened to doing the right thing? Whatever happened to being a good citizen? If you're not capable of any of that, how about just being a decent damn human being? State Farm is none of those things. Now, when I say State Farm, I do not mean the agents. I mean corporate. They are not accountable. Agents are accountable because we write them a check. Corporate's not accountable to anybody except the shareholders. So what can we do? Just say no to State Farm. Now, I know that's going to hurt the agents, but you know what? Competition is like this. When the State Farm agents start hurting, they'll leave State Farm and go somewhere else. In which case we should follow them. Because it's not the agent's fault that corporate is treating every one of their customers like criminals. That's not right, it's not fair. And we need to start saying no to State Farm. So that should be your new mantra. Just say no to State Farm. And maybe together we can bring customer service back into corporate America. And I said this on an earlier video. Corporations have no problem at all spending money on racial issues. They have no problem at all spending, who was it? Starbucks closed down their entire chain for a week to teach people about sexual issues. What happened is training your people on customer service. I will bet you $100 that every one of those adjusters at State Farm, not one of them have had any formal training in customer service. They couldn't have. Well, that's about all I wanted to say. Just say no to State Farm and share this video and tell the story. Let's get the story out there. You guys have a great week and happy investing.